Welcome to Dropping In, a podcast of storytelling and interviews with your host, Winter Olympian Mercedes Nicoll.
Thank you so much for dropping in today, whether this is your first time or your 134th time dropping in. Thank you for coming back. This is series 15, and today is February 10th, 2026. Now, goals give us direction, but they also test us. Sometimes there's good days, sometimes there's bad days. Goals aren't just about winning medals or hitting milestones. They're about learning how to keep moving forward when motivation dips, plans change, or life throws you that wicked curveball. In this series, we're going to drop in with athletes, Olympians, and change makers to unpack how goals are set, reset, and sometimes completely rewritten. From daily habits to career-defining dreams, these conversations explore what it really takes to stay focused, stay patient, and keep going, one goal at a time. Get ready to laugh, listen, and learn from real experiences as we drop in with this next guest. She was named one of BC's Business Magazine's most influential women in finance and one of British Columbia's 50 most influential women. I met her in her earliest career days on the side of a halfpipe, where she competed in the ranks of Canada's top snowboarders. That was over 25 years ago, which is hard to believe. She transitioned from sport to finance. She didn't just enter the industry, she rose quickly through the ranks to leadership, growing a $16 billion national investment at one of Canada's most respected independent investment firms. She founded Worth, a community that empowers and inspires women to live to their greatest potential and face their financial aspirations with confidence. This friend, wife, mother, advisor, mentor, weekend warrior, and one of British Columbia's most influential women is about to drop in. It's my pleasure to welcome Catherine Dorazio. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Oh my goodness. Thank you for that. Wow, we've gone back a long time, haven't we?
I know. I was like 25 years. Oh my gosh, we're not that old, I swear.
No, for sure.
Are you ready to drop in on the 10 rapid fire questions that you haven't seen except for the last question you have seen? So that the guests get to know you just a little bit better.
Sure, let's go.
Okay. Number one is pretty easy. Where in the world are you today?
I'm in West Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada.
Okay. Number two, coffee order. What are we working with for you?
Oh, Grande Americano Misto.
Oh, that's so quick. How many of those do you have in a day?
That's a requirement daily, yes.
Okay.
Homemade's fine.
Nice. Number three, are you an early bird or are you a night owl?
Oh, early bird for sure. Yeah, get it done in the quiet peace of home. Yeah.
Like how early? Because you've got kids.
Oh, like regularly 6 a.m. But if I really want to get goal setting, like I might even grab 5 a.m.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Sick. I respect that, but it's so dark here in the winter. That's challenging sometimes.
But in bed by like 8:30. So let's be
real. Thank you. Number four, what would you choose on a day on the hill, skiing or snowboarding?
Oh, this one frustrates people because I'm now a skier.
That's totally fine. I thought you might say that. And I think a lot of us have changed to skiing. Also, for me, it depends on the conditions. But do you ever put your snowboard back on?
No, injury keeps me from that, unfortunately.
Wait, what injury?
Oh,
knees?
No, muscle stuff.
Oh, take it. I'm sorry to hear that. Okay, moving on. Number five.
You can still ski.
What's one word your closest friends would use to describe you?
A connector.
Connector. I like that. Number six, your go-to reset after a high-stress week.
Walking.
Oh, Chandra Crawford said walking too. Yeah. Not that we had the same questions, but I was like, what's something that you do for like movement now? And she's like, I walk the dog.
Walking, it's almost meditative and it's just so cleansing. You get the fresh air, you get the thoughts, you get nature.
Well, also thinking about Vancouver and the seawall and how beautiful that is.
Right?
That's a win.
Yeah. Lots comes to you on walking. So.
Awesome. Number 7, best piece of advice you've ever received in sport or business.
The power of a network. Think of that as community. Community is a better word, I think, for it. But those are the people that are going to support you, pick you up, lift you up, be around you, learn from, grow from. You are your community.
That's awesome. Number 8, what's one thing you wish you were taught earlier about money?
Compound interest. I was taught this early, but I think I get to cheat a little. It's the thing I love to teach.
Compound interest? Okay, can you go into that a little bit more?
This, what's 2 + 2 is 4, 4 + 4 is 8, 8 + 8 is 16. You're compounding on each other. And so the power, Einstein actually named it one of the most powerful forces in the universe. So you add compounding to any efforts of saving. It works in sport as well by practice, and you compound the benefits. So.
I like that. Okay. I feel like we're going to dive deeper. Number 9, favorite place to travel, hot or cold?
Oh, Cabo's our place. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. Beach, culture, relaxing, but some fun.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. We're on to the last one. This is the more challenging one. Not really, but kind of. Everyone's got this question that's on this series. When a goal feels far away or starts to change, what's the one thing you remind yourself to stay committed?
Mindset. So I think we often always go to what should we do?
Yeah.
Right? And having to take a pivot more recently in my older years now, I get to reflect with a little bit more experience of what's different this time. And it's the mindset. We can all go and do, but if we don't think we can do it or keep ourselves locked into our ability by our own minds, that actually is the first step.
Okay, so like if we doubt ourselves, you've got to change that mindset. Is that what you're kind of saying?
Yeah. So really there's 3 steps, and what we often jump to is the doing. Okay. What am I actually going to do to get me there? Am I going to the gym? Am I going to study? Am I going to network? Am I going to get the job?
Yeah.
But there's actually 2 steps before that, which we might do, but we might not be as conscious about it. And the first is the mindset we tell ourselves that we can do it. Yeah. And the story we tell ourselves in that, how we're going to do it, why we're capable, evidencing to ourselves then the strategy. Because the reverse of that, which what we don't want to do, is not have a positive mindset and tell a story that's full of self-limiting beliefs of why you're not going to be able to do it or the things that get in the way. So if we know we're combating those 2 things in a positive way, we can then be much more likely to follow it through with our plan.
Oh, I love that. Okay, we've got the mindset that we can, evidence that we can, and then we do.
Yes.
That was our 10-question rapid fire. It was actually like quite rapid this time, which is good. And so now we can get into goals. I just want to talk about your personal goals so far. I mean, you went from a snowboarder into the finance world. How did that shift happen for you? Was that always on the set of the horizon for you, or did you just fall into it?
Yeah, if we start in the snowboarding, I fell into that. And I want to give people that confidence that, look, I didn't have this all laid out. Okay. I was, early 20s, there was no plan. But there was a mindset of, okay, let's go do this. And I want to enjoy myself. So snowboarding happened because it took a time and a place in the industry. Obviously 25 years ago, things were very, very different, where being exposed at a time when the infancy of the sport was really just taking off, and really doing something out of a love and a passion. Okay. From then I met some people that were influential. I had a body type that seemed to work well with what I was trying to do. We had a lot of fun on the side of the half pipe. And being out of a kind of business family, I made it important to me. I made it a career. And that meant seriously going to the gym and thinking about sponsorships and trying my best and, progressing. From there, there were people like Mercedes Nicoll that showed up, and they were a little younger. They bounced, and you won't know this story, But, I would fall and be like, oh my goodness, this hurts so much. And then I watch you were about 14, just go, oh, let's keep going.
That's
And
right.
I'm like, goodness, I got to retire here. This isn't working for me anymore.
Oh man.
Again, some of my community, my business influence schooling said, okay, there is a passion in finance. And I had a great mentor. So I just started to explore that. So it became a step to just go back to school and explore what I thought was an interest because of someone who inspired me. Yeah. And then from there, it was just, honestly, people don't often kind of see the snowboarding piece as you have to be resilient and persistent and, all those characteristics of athletes that get to that level.
Yeah.
But for getting into the finance career, it was helpful for me that I had all those things in resilience because I didn't actually even hear the narrative of you can't do this. And I would have been, again, a rare female in the industry those days.
100%.
What I was going to do. So it wasn't all calculated and planned out. There were equal challenges to come into a new sport or come into an industry that was male dominated. Yeah. And that mindset that really just told myself I can do this. And I didn't put things in my way at that age, probably naive enough to be graceful trying. And then, I wasn't going to fail. The competitive aspect that I'm going to show the world I can do this.
I love that. I think I didn't even think, I don't know why it didn't dawn on me till now, but the way that snowboarding back then was mostly men, there weren't that many women. And then you literally just went into a parallel in the business world. There's not that many. Well, there are now a lot more women in the financial industry. But I can imagine you going into that and leaving it, but having that fuel because you had that in snowboarding as well. I think that's
it was
super
familiar
cool
to me. And I was actually reflecting on this last night, thinking about our conversation. If you imagine that, let's just say it wasn't even 1 in 10, but it was 1 in 100, right?
Yeah.
And we're keeping up with those guys at their ability every single day. And we actually were keeping up.
Yeah.
Right? Which means physically we were probably charging that much harder to be able to be in line. Because, going down a snowboard or any run, to literally be in the same pace means relatively we were going faster for our bodies.
Right.
To be able to hold that strength and literally keep up. And it was a coach now, not in my 20s anymore, that actually made me realize how similar the things that drove me in the environment that I operated in snowboarding was a parallel to what you just said through my whole career. And I actually hadn't pulled all those pieces together yet.
That's very cool. I mean, it's so funny because I get speaking engagements and people are like, can you talk on this? I'm like, oh, I pull all these stories out and you're like, wow, the alignment and the skills that athletes have are insane when you really break it down, which is so cool. So, and your goal setting. We had goals when we were snowboarding. We're like, let's do this trick. Let's go to this competition. How does that transfer to finance? I mean, you must have wild goals that you're setting, long-term and short-term.
Yeah, I think we naturally work in a framework that we know where we're going, right? And if you actually take that for granted, because I'm sure a lot of people don't operate that way. So we kind of know where we're going in our days. We know where we're going in our years. We know where we're going in, a certain accomplishment. So the framework, and then back to how we actually get there. I think it's quite structured, even though we might not spreadsheet it per se. Right. And for me, oh goodness, goals for me now are much more driven by the impact and the purpose, who I am as a human. So if I take you through the chapters, if you think of those first career, whether it's snowboarding, when it's the early days in finance, it's all about proving yourself. Okay. Certain boxes you have to check. You need to go to school. You need to do the things. You need to make the sacrifices. You need to show up. And largely it's drawn for, going through and being kind of increasing in responsibility, income, success, and all the different ways that society measures that.
Right.
And now being in a working chapter of my life, but being driven very differently, it's actually through making an impact. So you get to
Okay.
kind of connect more to, well, what's my superpower? What do I do that I think is, unique and inspiring to me and to others? And how
Yeah.
can I direct what I do with more purpose and impact? And so the motivators and the goalposts are changing.
Okay.
But it doesn't mean the goals, are any, smaller. They're actually in some ways larger, because impact means you're touching more people. Inspiring means more, people are changing their pursuits because of something you can say or share. And in that, the goals just maybe become a little bit more about others than about yourself.
I love that. And I think that happens. I know we met 25 years ago with age and wisdom. Because part of your life is quite, part of my life being a snowboarder was very selfish, very driven, very focused, to better myself in sport. And now I'm like, oh, I want to give back. I want people to laugh. I want people to learn. I like giving back for other people to share wisdom, I think is important. So that's what I'm hearing in where you've come to as well, like full circle.
Yeah. I get so incredibly fulfilled by seeing other people reach their potential or improve their ability to reach their potential.
And is that why you started Worth?
Yeah. Worth is a combination of that, helping other people see their own abilities and purpose. So Worth is a community of women that I want to empower and inspire to live their life to their potential.
Cool.
Where that touches, whether it's career, whether it's some statistics around the likelihood that they will direct their own wealth in their lifetime, and an industry that really hasn't been set up for them, or just hearing other stories of other women, because we, share a little more openly now of actually how hard it is. And it might look great on a resume, but there was a lot of setbacks, right? We can talk about along the way. And so Worth makes sure that community of women feel heard and respected, in that those goals are real and should be supported. And then a whole host of people that, as a community, back to this first question, can really help and support them in getting there. And my role is to see that the importance of finance in someone's lives, in a very traditional male-dominated industry that I was interested in, so was lucky to succeed within, isn't for everyone. And so I want to make it more inviting and more easy to navigate that huge responsibility that they feel they have.
Cool. Super cool. I want to talk about setbacks, because sometimes, yes, we can set a goal, and sometimes it's a long-term goal that maybe isn't going to happen, or there's going to be all these other things that we put in place to try and achieve it. But we've got to, and you use the word pivot, we've got to figure out a different way to get there. Can you talk about some of those in your career?
Sure. And the first one, and it's from a book. I won't be able to think of the author's name, but a friend of mine has used it as a great analogy. And I did it a little bit, but it's really the second mountain is what it's called, because something ejects you off this first mountain. It could be health. It could be ambition. It could be, anything and everything. Let's call that the setback. And at that point, you have to pivot. And so when I think back to that pivot, at first, it wasn't the mindset that I could do this again, or I could pick myself up. We're really hard on ourselves. I was incredibly hard on myself, until I said, no, I can do this. No one takes away the success, this experience, the career, the life to date. And therefore, this is just a pivot, and it can be part of a design that now I take those things with me. And so thinking of it in the negative is just because it's hard and there's no, direction of clarity at that moment, but there is the ability to design it. And so mindset is saying I can. The story is not saying that I failed, but I learned, right? And nothing gets erased in that moment of that setback that you've accomplished so far. And then from there, what am I going to take it and do with it next? Because it's actually all back to compound interest, compounding, right?
Yes.
I'm able to do all of that now I didn't have at 30. And so it's just going to be, with that wisdom and experience. And that means it's probably going to be, I don't want to use the word better, but elevated in its ability to do something.
I like that.
That experience with you.
Yeah, I think I really like what you said there about you didn't fail, but you learned.
Mm.
And I think that's what our younger years are all about is how can we better ourselves and but also like put these goals in place that will challenge us because that is an elite mindset of an athlete as well as someone in finance. I mean, if you want to do well, you're going to have to be elite at something and you're going to have to set some serious freaking goals for yourself throughout your life, right?
Right. And find one person that got to anything accomplished in life without some failure and some setbacks. There's not a human alive. So let's normalize that that's part of it. I also say we don't play video games to go across the screen from left to right and win the level. There's a reason there's fiery dragons and things to jump over because we're actually set up in our brains and wired to accomplish things by overcoming things that are challenging and problems. Like that is actually the game of life.
It's
And
true.
so what we keep going to is like, where's the friggin' easy button here? And that's not the way we actually thrive.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We'd be bored if we got the same thing given to us every day without any challenge.
Well, I don't think I would like my life very much like
No,
that.
no one would. But then we go, well, this is too hard. Well, okay, so this is too hard, but that's boring. So somewhere here, this is the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So let's think about accepting that. Then going, okay, well, again, what do I need then to deal with those challenging times? I need a great mindset. I need a great community. I need a story that, helps me stay on track to remind myself of all the great things that this is part of it. Mm-hmm. And then the goal setting is, okay, well, then what am I going to do next? Where is my interest in creativity? And I think back to those snowboarding days where, people, they were hard on us, right? If we didn't do something right. And I wish, we let people fail a little bit more gracefully.
That's true. That's really true. Yeah, we grew up in an era of like get up, go, go. And that is changing in the world of sport with safe sport and everything coming in, a little bit more compassion, a little bit more empathy for people, I might say.
Yeah. Well, the Olympics right now, and I was watching Lindsey Vonn, and and I feel it the same way. We can analogize it to Taylor Swift, and really, again, anyone who's got to great accomplishments. And there's so many people that want to create our own story and take her down for decisions made, and it's just awful. Taylor Swift, the same thing. Think what she had to overcome. And those are the kind of people I look up to go, okay, it's not going to be easy. And there's going to be a lot of people that don't see what I'm trying to do because they don't have that journey of life and experience that gives me the perspective of what I'm reaching for.
100%. And I think when we think about setting those long-term goals, no one sees those tiny goals that you have to set along the path, along your journey, especially when it comes to sport. Maybe when you're working on a portfolio for someone, you're like behind the scenes, like grinding, and everyone just sees the outcome. We can look at Taylor Swift. She puts an album together. We look at Lindsey Vonn. She's at the Olympics. You like great examples, but no one sees the grit and the perseverance and the patience behind those big goals, which I think is so important. What would be like a couple of your like smaller goals when you're working day to day that you'd have to put in front of yourself daily that no one would know about?
I'm going to start with one, which is consistent incrementalism. Okay. And I like analogies because I live in a world of finance that, I don't win any prizes for sounding smart. If you can't understand it, it's useless. Yeah. So if you go to the gym, once a year, you're not going to reach your goal, right? Mm-hmm. If you go to the gym, 10, 20 minutes every single day, that consistency and that incrementalism in small ways will add up to reaching the goal. Mm-hmm. So I think actually the first thing is recognizing it is all the tiny, tiny things repeated consistently that get you there. Okay, you'd hate to know that I have the same two things for breakfast every morning. I have 2 eggs and 2 cups of coffee. Okay. If you really get into it, I probably eat the same one of 3 things for lunch every single day. I've caught my body in a place where it knows what it's getting.
Okay.
And so I can control that, and the rest of the world can happen around me, and I will have the enough energy and not, be burping curry, right? To do whatever I have and whatever comes with me. So consistent incrementalism, very small, similar things every single day that lead to the rest of the things you can't control, being in a state of mind and body to be able to achieve them. I do the same thing with the gym. I have gone to the gym religiously, and you're not going to like the number because most people are like, oh, I go to the gym 5-7 times a week. I go once to twice a week, but I've done it since I retired from snowboarding for 25 years. And so at my age, I can be like, well, yeah, I've put it all in. And fair enough, there's some muscle things that we did at crazy levels before that I've been able to maintain, but it didn't take this humongous effort. It just took little consistent repeated efforts, every week for decades, right?
Yeah.
And are there. Other ones, I'm a mom.
Mm-hmm.
It goes fast. And so really to try to be in those moments.
Present.
And, I'm a glorified chauffeur those hours, but those are spending time with them. So I think I'm trying to share with that is it's just perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Goals to me are just also making sure I don't miss the movie.
Yes. I want to talk about like the mindset of the gym time, just because, yes, we had to be in the gym a lot. And now when you say 1 to 2 days a week and you're like, don't belittle that. I'm like, that's awesome. That's great. Like, you don't have to go to the gym. We live in British Columbia to be outside, but going to the gym is also important. But like, for me, if I've set I'm going to the gym today, I have to go. Is that the same for you?
It's in the calendar. It's been pretty much in the same time slot of my calendar for that many decades. And they always say the hardest wait at the gym is the front door.
Yeah, no doubt.
And so it literally is just getting there. And I'm pretty like, okay, like do what you can, but at least getting there. Minimum.
Yeah. And I think that's something that's like ingrained. Like, I don't have to write this goal down, but if I will put it in my calendar too. But if in my head I've chosen the night before I'm going to the gym and this is what I'm going to do, I have to do it.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like
those non-negotiables, right? With ourselves. But look, we do it. We take it for granted, and that is not everyone's. It got ingrained really early in us that not only do we go, but we get benefit. And so somehow it translates over time to like, no, it's just, you have to do it.
Yeah, totally.
I don't know what state I'm in.
I know I will feel better. It's just going to take me a minute. It could be 7 p.m., but I'm still going to the gym. Yeah. I want to talk about community because I think a lot of the time, yes, we can set personal goals, but to thrive is to kind of celebrate and share with the community and also sharing our goals with other people. I had Chandra Crawford on the episode right before you, Olympic gold medalist, and we talked about like how you share your goals and how you celebrate your goals. So how do you go about that?
Sharing them. So first off, I have this small group of other professional women that I would say were in mirrored lives. We balance it all with children and then the accolades and the success and things that have come along with it. And we have this top 5, bottom 5 update. The top 5% of our life we wouldn't otherwise share with other people. It feels boastful or bragging. Right. We share with that group, and same with the bottom 5. So it gives us a place to share. And feel supported and feel celebrated, and everyone's doing it. So it normalizes it. From there, to be honest, I learned something really early on. And I was in finance. I was 26 years old. And the long story short is I was given the bonus of an assistant. And I was like, but I'm not an assistant. I might to you look like I should be at 26, female blonde in the financial industry, but I was, ultimately working alongside another portfolio manager senior to me. And it told me that if I don't find a comfortable way to share what I do and my success in doing it, people will make biased opinions of what I am and what I've accomplished. So I have an eloquent way, and maybe over time it's not so eloquent. It just is what it is. Like, here's what I did. Here's what I accomplished. Here's the success of that. Here's what it overcome, and share it. And maybe in a way that I think is graceful enough that people then get encouraged and inspired.
I respect that. I love that. I love that. And I'm a work in progress on that one too, because I'm not always like, yes, I'm a 4-time Olympian. Most of my friends would be like, this is something she doesn't talk about. This is something she doesn't bring up. I feel like I'm getting better at it. But I think you're right. There's got to be a graceful way to say it.
Yeah. And look, my kids love and adore you as Mercedes, but knowing you're an Olympian inspires them.
Yeah.
And so just know that someone else is taking something positive, and back to the people that don't, bye-bye, don't need you. Right?
Yes, people that serve you well is important.
You're a leader. You're setting goals and showing people what can come with hard work. And the people that are going to be inspired by that, lean into it.
Yeah, that is really good advice to lean into everything that you've accomplished. Now let's talk about reflection and celebration. I think that those are becoming something more, as at least as I get older, taking the time to reflect and then celebrate those goals. I mean, we have our Olympians on right now on TV, and I'm like, when are they going to get to celebrate? I want them to, because they're so spread apart. I'm like, I want them to all celebrate together. And I think that's going to happen later on in the year. But what does that look like for you, reflection and celebration?
Well, we'll start with the reflection. That's the walking, walking an analytical mind. I process, right? I try to tie things that I've learned, I used to teach it as refine and reflect. Yeah. Or reflect and refine, the other way around. So what you're doing then is, if you reflect on it, you're growing from it. You're thinking about what you did, what you might do better. In that, you're probably validating the things that went well. The other piece then is back to that movie. Like, if we don't, we're going to miss the movie if we don't celebrate the milestones, right? There's so many wins. And even now, okay, getting through the hard days is hard. There are hard days. Yeah. And I don't have to do this too tactfully, but I know others that do, where they literally write down the small wins, so that on the hard days, they have something to go back to and remind themselves of all the things they've accomplished. Cool. For me, though, milestones are important. Kids' birthday parties or graduations I've hosted, even then things for myself, but less so. I think it's really important that we celebrate the journey. Yeah, that's so good. And so all I want to do is encourage people to learn a little bit as they can along the way. Awesome. Just because it's hard, like anything else they're doing, don't just shy away from it. Incrementally learn over time, because money is a power to achieve goals and aspirations. It's a tool. And if you learn how to use that tool, you're more likely to get there than if you just shy away because it's hard. So let's use the same analogy as all the other things we've talked about in life. Yeah. Yeah. And, I rarely I had an interest, so it was afforded to me to learn incrementally for a very long period of time. And so also surround yourself with people that can teach or who care. There are professionals out there that'll shed light onto things so that you can, have the benefit of all the things they've learned as well.
Oh, you're on it. You're on it. Don't be afraid to learn and grow, because that's how we become better humans.
Exactly. And we have more fun. Right? Yeah. That's boring, trip every once in a while. It's okay.
That's true. All right. I just want to grab some takeaways that I thought were just fruitful information. Obviously, your 3 steps: mindset, that we can do it. Get some evidence that we can do it, and then you're going to start doing it. I really, really liked the part about community as well, that you have these ladies in your world where you share your top 5 updates. You're not apologetic about where you're at, but you also share the bottom 5. Like, it's not easy, but we're in this together. And I think sharing is something that's super important when it comes to achievement, reflection, and goal setting. So thank you for that. And then you also just talked about it's not easy. It takes time. And that's something that maybe the younger generation thinks that things should just happen instantaneously these days. But for growth and for goals, long-term goals to be achieved, gosh, it takes a long time. School's not a year for a reason. You need to learn the knowledge first, and then you can bring it forward. Don't be afraid to learn and grow. I also really enjoyed what you said at the end there, that some people do write down their small goals so that they can look back and be proud of those in those murky days where it might be a little bit dark and challenging, but know that you have accomplished these things to set your path to your long-term goal. Thank you so much. Did I miss anything? Was there anything else you wanted to add in there?
No, honestly, I love that you're doing this, because this is what's so important, for people just to share their story and bring things down to a real normal human level. And I believe in everyone having a superpower and potential. So it's efforts like this that help them lean in and realize it.
I love the conversation. Thank you so much for dropping in. Where can people find you online if they want to follow along with everything that you're doing?
Worth by Catherine on Instagram. You can find me on LinkedIn at Catherine Dorazio, and also just through CCNL Private Capital. I'm there too.
Awesome. Thank you so much for dropping in today.
Thank you, Mercedes. Good to see you.
Thanks so much for dropping in today. You can find everything you want to know about Dropping In with Mercedes at droppinginwithmercedes.com. Don't forget to subscribe on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. Thanks DJ Kenosis for the music, and my mom for the intro voice.
Do